Molly had a different dad than Andy. For years, people have been trying to figure out what happened to Andy's dad and who he might be. But what if we've been asking the wrong question? Instead of asking who Andy's dad was, we should be asking who Molly's dad is. Greetings, fellow internet surfers. It's The Hero, your guide through the realms of nostalgic theories and shattered childhood dreams. Today, I pulled a page from a theory I've had for years, one many have also come up with, and I love it. Andy's father has been a mystery for years in the Toy Story universe, one that remains unanswered, and fans like us have been dying to find out what is going on. And with Toy Story 5 coming out later this year, we might actually find out. The main consensus around Andy's dad is that he either ran out on the family, the parents got divorced, or he died. I'm gonna go with the divorce, as I think Disney killed off enough parents. Wouldn't you agree? The first Toy Story has all the telltale signs of there being a divorce between Andy's parents, from the moving of houses to the fact that there is literally no furniture brought with them, and even as far as the fact that Miss Davis, Andy's mom, bought them a pet dog.
What is it? Wow, a puppy!
Now this could all be speculation, but I'm seeing some definite coping mechanisms here. But I want to set something up completely different from what we see with our eyes, because sometimes there is more than meets the eye. You can thank Transformers for that. What if Andy and Molly have different parents? I don't know if you've ever seen a divorce, but they can take a long time. And considering Molly isn't even able to walk until the end of Toy Story 2, the parents separated before Molly was born. And Molly is another man's child. But who? To answer that question, we need to study Andy and Molly as they get older in the films. If you take a deep, long look at the two characters in Toy Story 3, you might realize that they don't really look alike. Now, of course, this could be just different animation styles to emphasize they are siblings, but I think there is more going on here. And when I say more, I mean more fathers. I know, this just sounds completely bonkers. As we know, Pixar and Disney animation is very detailed on purpose. Backgrounds and Easter eggs aren't detailed for no reason. Animators work hard to make sure you can spot those things. They're there on purpose for us fans to be absolutely crazy. And I'm the hero who can't leave a stone unturned. Let's take a close look at Andy. He has blue eyes, an oval face, and straight brown hair. While Molly, on the other hand, has the same blue eyes, which they most likely both got from their mom, but more of a square face with curly blonde hair. Now on the outside, you might be saying, well, siblings can look different, hero. They don't need to look the same. There's plenty of instances that they're completely different in the world. But here's where I want you to focus. Those are recessive traits that Molly has in a person, according to biology, which are usually rare and are passed down from both parents who have them. Now, there can also be people called carriers, which means they carry the gene but don't necessarily possess it, which means it can be passed on and just skip a generation. But curly hair is recessive as well, which makes me wonder where such rare traits would come from, and why, if Andy and Molly did have the same dad, why didn't she receive more of the dominant traits like Andy did? Now, before all of you start saying, well, siblings can look different and Molly could have gotten some of those traits from her mom, as their mom does have a more square face in Toy Story 3 and the blonde hair. However, this is where the detective in me dove deeper. In Toy Story, Andy's mom has brown hair, and although she cuts it in Toy Story 2, we see that she most likely dyed her hair blonde, as it wasn't originally blonde because we can see those darker roots through the highlight. This in turn would make it harder for Molly to receive blonde curly hair from her mother's side. And you guys thought you had me there. And Andy doesn't have curly hair, which almost proves they have different fathers, because otherwise they would have one from both of them somewhere. Now, all this evidence is great, and you may still be doubting this whole theory, but let me try to persuade you to think outside the box, because the question remains. If they did have separate fathers, who would Molly's be in the Pixar universe? Now, this is going to blow your mind, so be prepared, as a certain villainous lion would say. Since Molly has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a square face, her father is also likely going to have blonde hair, blue eyes, or the square face. I mean, I think this just is common sense. It also has to be a character that didn't have any sort of emotional attachment towards Andy's mom, because he kind of ran out on her after a one-night stand, because there's no reference to a boyfriend at any point in any movie. We've all been there, right? Just me? Now, timing is everything, and when it comes to this theory, timing is why it makes the most sense. We all know that Toy Story takes place in 1995, because the Buzz Lightyear toy came out in 1995, which is evidenced by Toy Story 2, where Barbie says,
Buzz Lightyear aisle. Back in 1995, short-sighted retailers did not order enough dolls to meet demand.
This means Molly was born when the first movie came out, because she literally looked and acted like a newborn in the first Toy Story movie. She couldn't even walk in the first film. And according to science, the average age a child learns to walk is around 12 months or 1 year old. Andy's mom, on the other hand, was somewhere in her 30s according to the creators of Toy Story, which means her partner had to be somewhere around the same age or slightly younger or older. This would mean they would have had to be born around the 1950s or 60s with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a squarish face. Now, who would this description fit? Well, if we stay within the Pixar universe, and I think that's the smartest choice, what Pixar character has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a square face, and would likely run away from his problems? Or perhaps dash away from his problems? Now wait a second, it can't be true, can it? Am I joking right now? Well, my curious companions, I am not. In all seriousness, the timelines of the films add up. You will believe it once I prove it to you. Could Dash be Molly's dad? Well, Dash was 10 years old in The Incredibles and was born around the 1950s. How do I know this? Let's take a look at some of those on-purpose details I mentioned earlier that Pixar includes in their movies. If we look at the deaths of some of the superheroes in The Incredibles, Super Thunderhead died on the 15th of November 1958, according to Edna Mode herself.
November 15th of 58. All was well, another day saved, when his cape snagged on a missile.
And what's crazy is he was present at Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's wedding, and after the wedding, the film flashes forward 15 years, and Dash is 10 years old. We also see Mr. Incredible reading a newspaper dated 1962, when the family's having a chaotic dinner, and Dash is already 10 here, meaning Dash's exact date of birth would have been somewhere in 1952, which would make him around 43 years old in 1995 during Toy Story. And Dash does have blue eyes, a very square face, and blonde hair traits to pass down to Molly. And if we overanalyze the character, as we usually do here, as he was in the Incredibles movie, he would definitely be the type of dad to run away from his mistakes. Yikes. It's like he literally went to the store for milk and never came back. Now, the one thing that does throw this theory off track is that Molly doesn't have any superpowers that we know of, which would have made this theory more concrete. Because as we know from the Incredibles timelines, a lot of the supers that have children also have children that have superpowers. However, just because she is born from a super doesn't necessarily mean she would receive powers. This could be a trait just like the other recessive traits that could skip over a generation, which could make Dash still Molly's father. But this is just a hero speculation, but it does add a bit more spice to the Toy Story parents debate. But what do you guys think? Do you believe Dash could be Molly's father, or is it just a theory? Let me know in the comments below. And until the next theory, bye-bye.